Yes, hi there, and welcome back. We were going to take drink orders a little bit earlier, and we decided if we wanted to keep everything on point, that maybe we'd put that off for a little bit.
It may make us better, quite honestly.
It might.
Welcome back. We're live in Vegas, celebrating the 30th anniversary of CEREC, and we have yet another handsome panel. A lot of handsomeness returning with new handsomeness. We got Scrammy, Neal, T-Bone, and Don Bell. We were going to go with all nicknames tonight, but Don Bell said it was Don Bell. I couldn't get away with DB or Don B or whatever in the house, so that's what we're going with. Anyway, we're talking about Ivoclar Vivadent, and since you guys are the professionals and know exactly what it's all about, let's just jump into it.
All right, where do you want to begin?
Yes, exactly.
It's a game changer. I mean, honestly,
Why is that?
The implant solutions is a game changer because now we have the ability to completely control the implant outcome for our patients, from emergence profile to the final restoration to contact points to contact, interproximal contact, to aesthetics with a highly aesthetic material with multiple colors. I mean, it is truly a game changer. It's, you guys have seen that in your practice.
Look, I think the reality is that we can spend an entire career trying to find the right lab technician who knows exactly what we want. The problem is that we have no way to communicate the exact nature of how to restore implants. So the reality is that with the ability to restore implants chairside, if the clinician knows exactly what they need to restore that patient to ideal, and we have full control, then that's where the magic happens. And so that's what I appreciate working with Ivoclar and providing the solution that's been studied, that's proven, and has the backing that's needed so that we know that we can provide our patients a long-term, exquisite restoration.
Yeah, and I think that's what it really comes down to is two things. You've got a proven material with Emax that's been proven for over 10 years, and control. You know, we like to have the control, and if we can control the outcome before we start, it is a game changer. It's probably the biggest game changer that I've seen in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and I say it again. There's a lot of people that try to imitate the products, but the reality is that it can't be done. There's only one product that someone's come to the table with that's given us a track record that's been researched, that's proven. And things might change. They'll likely bring out version 2 at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. We're always working on new products, and we're hoping to have TelioCAD out for this show where we're getting close to that, and that'll help the temporization component to manage the tissue and to be able to seat an immediate implant but let it heal as a temporary before you place the final. So it's an entire solution.
It is out in Canada, though. Don't forget about that.
It is out in Canada.
They always get everything before us.
I know, the Canadians.
The FDA is not very friendly to us right now.
I just want to rub your mohawk.
I would swim across the river in Minnesota to Canada, but somebody just got arrested for that. So I don't want to be on the news for smuggling in TelioCAD blocks.
Well, I think probably the most important thing, in my opinion, that we're missing on the benefits of the abutment solution is time. I mean, now we have a chairside procedure, which we've known and loved with CEREC for 30 years now, combined with your abutment solution, and now we can give our patients a restoration in a single visit. Mm-hmm. No more bringing the patient back, no more all of these things. And the other thing is the literature is clearly showing that when we can uncover that implant, remove the healing abutment or the cover screw less and less times, we're going to maintain more volume of bone and tissue around it.
That's correct.
And I think you're actually forgetting about something that you actually taught me, T-Bone, and that's cost.
Yes.
Because cost is important. And what we think about as cost is we actually try to figure out ways where we can actually lower the cost for the patient. Yeah. And if we know that the cost of our materials we can control those costs, make it more efficient for us, and make it less expensive for the patient.
Yeah. Well, it's not only cost, but it's time. These days, patients don't have the time to come in for 3-4 visits to restore one tooth. They wouldn't mind paying. The good news is they don't have to because it's reduced the cost, but the reality is they'd much rather get it done in one visit because that costs them more than 3 or 4 visits. So the reality is that it's a savings in time and energy and cost. So it's a beautiful thing.
And as an average Joe, you've taken away, you've made it easier and taken away the pain and the fear by compressing the time, making it more efficient, thanks to the products. And as a guy off the street goes, how can you diminish both the time and the money and the pain and the complications?
Well, first, you've dressed pretty well to be a guy on the streets. I'm just saying. So, but I think at the end of the day, our goal as dentists and our goal in touching and helping other dentists is we want to make the getting in the game, as Emmett was talking about today, getting in the game easier, right? And when we can make something that's more economical, faster to use, easier to use, more predictable to use, we can avoid remakes, we can make everything that much easier. I mean, more people are going to get in the game, and that's really going to help more patients and help more practices, and that's really the goal of everything that we do, is to help more practices. And then we're not even talking about the biological benefits of emergence profile and all those things to get, and then with provisionalization, to be able to customly sculpt a tooth and to be able to do immediate placement and to be able to have a restoration made for the patient while they're there versus having to come back, waiting for your lab to make it, or hand mixing acrylic in the office and making it. Right. It's a really nice way to work.
We've seen this already in the sense that as far as getting into the game, changing the game, when you have a company like Sirona that came up with the process, a company like Ivoclar that came up with the material, now we're seeing specialists buy the product. We're seeing people that never would ever have imagined buying a digital CEREC system, all of a sudden buying it specifically for this workflow.
Yeah.
So
you know how we're always talking about, T-Bone, how with each new advancement we're excited about such and such has been perfected, right? Is there anything that needs to be done yet again? What's the next step? Where can we predict what's the next 5-10 years? And I'm not saying how can we predict it, but what I'm saying, we get a new piece of equipment. Oh, we're so glad that this was integrated, but we wish we had this. In this particular arena, what would be next?
So the reality is that we have a mix of patients, some who are missing single teeth and another broad group of people who are missing multiple teeth. The current restorative solutions for someone who's missing multiple teeth, we're forced to use a material called zirconium. And the problem with zirconium is that we have no ability to try it in. It has to be fired to get its final state. And at that state, it's very difficult to adjust or modify. So if Ivoclar could someday come to us with a material where we can mill it full contour that's just like Emax, retains its shape through the firing process, then we can now start to do multiple restorations all connected together for screw-retained bridges and full-arch prosthetics. That's the next paradigm shift.
So that's the next homework that needs to be considered.
Yeah, I will say over the years working with these guys, they've always given us homework to do, but it's always been good homework. I mean, it's great ideas that have helped us develop in an area that we were never involved in. We were never involved in implant restorations before, and now working with Sirona, working with great clinicians, we've been able to develop solutions that work. And that's part of the whole process of being innovative and working together.
It's the greatest thing about teamwork. And hearing this, having been here all day and hearing a similar thing, it's a sense of family and teamwork and always pushing for the next generation.
Yep.
Closing comments before we move on.
I was going to say one point that we didn't touch on was lack of cement with the screw-retained restoration. We know that the literature states that roughly 80% of cemented implant restorations are leaving cement behind. So with your chairside solution with the LT block, and hopefully that comes in MT at some point.
Yeah.
So, we have the ability to totally avoid intraoral cementation and avoid that potential of leaving cement behind and creating any type of cement or peri-implantitis. So I think the future is bright. The materials keep getting more aesthetic, more durable. It's fantastic.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at the workflow as a whole, and I think that the workflow cannot be done without the materials that Ivoclar has created. So I think that there's always room for improvement. We can improve everything, and so I look forward to that.
All right, our work is cut out for us.
Yeah,
Guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Yet
David.
another break as we take a few minutes to set up for the next forum, and we are operating and broadcasting live once again here from Las Vegas, celebrating 30 years with CEREC. We'll be right back.